people of Reddit with permanent scars. How did you get it? OF. Have you healed up from your injuries? The sign I crashed into was a flat brick concrete advertising sign for a local company. It was either a big ravine or the sign, and luckily I made it into the sign. I got a pretty gnarly keloid scar on my elbow. It extends halfway up my arm. My rib cage is also pretty malformed from that wreck as well. I got me some train tracks too. My best story, lie, is the one on my forearm though. Broken window pane. Was replacing it and my toddler saw me and came over. I shooed him back, lifted the drill, and I well, skinned it. Extremely lucky, no muscle damage. 18 stitches, but it's curved around the muscle, so I tell people it's a shark bite. Nose. Pit bull ripped part of my nose off. Chin. Split my chin open on a marble glass windowsill in Las Vegas when I was a kid. Lip. Bit through it when I was a kid. Shoulder. 3rd-degree burns from a exhaust port on a water truck. Arm. Slipped on wooden stairs after my dad opted to use pledge cleaner and fell and sliced my arm open on the wall. Legs. Vinyl siding while working at an old job. Forearm. Ex-girlfriend's cat clawed me. Oh yeah, definitely I am okay. Interesting thing about 2 of my scars, the pit bull one, never got stitches and never went to the hospital, just taped it up, put a bandage on it and called it a day. Just got a mild scar left, the rest healed on its own. And that 3rd-degree burn one, never went to the hospital on that either, but aloe on it, wrapped it up and that healed. Although got a permanent scar of 4 screws and the manifold outlined in my arm which looks like a flag. Lol. I like your ordering style, so I'll copy it. Forehead. Fell onto a fireplace mantle as a kindergartner. Elbows. Fell off my bike and slid down a steep asphalt road. Forearms. 2 cat bites, numerous cat scratches, and 1 dog bite. Fingers. Countless knife accidents and burns while cooking. Knees. Aforementioned bike accident. Left ankle, molten plastic burn from playing with fire. Right ankle, fireworks. People with exciting childhoods unite. Same but meat sauce not cheese. Mom asked me to stir the sauce before leaving to the beach. We live like not even 2 blocks away, so I was stirring until the spoon got caught on a piece of like pork or sausage, and when I pulled it splashed onto me and burned like fuck. Left a gross scar on my lower abdomen, but it's pretty much gone. Edit. I meant to mention the beach because I was in a bathing suit. I have acne scars all over my arms, chest and back. I'm a renowned pimple popper and I've been picking at my skin ever since I started getting acne. I'm my in 20s now and I'm trying my best to stop, but I still find myself standing in front of the bathroom mirror for hours looking for the next juicy pimple to pop. SMH. I also have a scar on my forehead that I got when I was little when my sister pushed me off the bed and my head landed on the edge of a dresser. Lol. It's been years since I did, but thank you for this. It's nice reading support when you don't get much, especially from someone who's been there. Sometimes I feel like a damn fraud who cut for attention, but I know that's not true because I rarely told anyone and kept them in hideable spots. I just feel like I'm faking all my issues. Even though I'm diagnosed and got it well institutionalized, I try to talk about things that bother me and get told to quit complaining. I'm too old to be acting how I do, and I never feel like I'm being over the top until afterwards. Looking back, I just wish it was easier to change my mentality and habits. It sucks when it doesn't feel like your brain belongs to you. I know exactly what you mean. When I tried to ask my family for help, all they told me was that there were so many other people out there who had it worse than me, so I had no reason to be depressed. That always made me feel so much worse. I already had so many self-worth issues, so to imagine that I wasn't even good enough at being mentally ill made me feel terrible. But in the end, I came to understand that mental illness doesn't care about your place in life. It doesn't care if you have a roof over your head, or a stable family life, or how much money is in your bank account. It will hurt anyone it wants to, and those of us who have struggled with our mental health do not have to be ashamed. Be kind to yourself that right there. Not just in the present, but to the yourself of yesterday in your memories, to the yourself you'd like to meet in the future. Remember that kindness is hard sometimes, but you are worth the effort. I have rather visible self-harm scars from elbow to wrist, and hip to ankle. Haven't cut in about 11 years now. Wow. Didn't realize it's been so long. Am I a grown-up or something now? I remember feeling so alone, so trapped in the cycle, dragging myself out. I spent so much time thinking I'd never love my body with scars, hating myself for making them. Looking back, I was going through a lot. I did not have the skills or support system to deal with. I did what I could with what I had. Sure, I still see my scars sometimes and wish I were unblemished, but they are a chapter of my life I will always carry with me, and anyone who has a problem with them is not someone I want in my life. When I got stabbed, they used batteries they basically empty and then fold over to create a box cutter. 45 stitches in my neck and chest, 17 in my stomach, 8 in my leg somehow. Huge scars that are still very noticeable. So I guess they more sliced than stabbed there. I got stabbed like 15 times with a piece of fence someone got called a poker, maybe went 3 or 4 inches in. Those all went into the side of my ribcage, and let me tell you, that shit hurts. Not sharp, just basically a blunt metal thin piece of chain link fence. Makes an audible popping sound as it breaks the skin. After a few, when the blood starts to flow, it sounds like how you'd imagine stabbing a gallon of milk would sound, but almost like this pasta sound as well. Squishy noises. Because I'm white, I guess. I was one of 2 white guys in a dorm with 38 black guys. They tried to extort me for my food and canteen. I used to fight at a fairly high level, so once I beat up one guy, they lined me up, which basically means they don't jump you but they make you fight like 15 guys in a row. Win or lose, you just keep fighting or keep getting beaten, one of the other. The goal is to make you break it off, which just means basically pay the gang members with your items for protection from them, lol. So after getting lined up, I did pretty well for the first 8 to 10 before the fatigue set in and I couldn't really fight anymore, but I still wouldn't give up my stuff, so they held me down and stabbed me in the ribs with the fence poker, poured boiling water on me, and then just kept choking me unconscious, letting me wake up and repeating the process. Finally I just played dead and they stopped. Ended up in medical for 2 weeks. My face was swollen shut for like 10 days. I got transferred after that, which was only like 10 days into my stay. Lol. Went to a different prison where we actually had cells with only 2 guys and a decent number of white guys. The white guys slashed me up because I refused to do it to my friend who was getting it done to him for sharing a bag of chips with a Mexican guy, which is a major no-go. So since I refused, they tried to take me off the compound. Came up behind me in line, grabbed my face, put the box cutter under my armpit to my neck and ripped it down. Got me a few times during the scuffle. Well, most of them are on my hands. People either assume I'm a badass and get into fights, or a dumbass who fights walls. Neither are true, I'm just clumsy AF. I got when my sister was holding a potato peeler and I didn't see it and went to grab some food she was preparing. I tripped and accidentally punched through a lampshade. The metal wiring inside took out a decent chunk. Accidentally dropped my knife while woodworking, cut my finger to the bone. At an amusement park with my friends. Decided to race one to the next ride and accidentally collided with one of those stone trash cans. Ripped skin about half the size of a penny of one of my knuckles at the deepest point. It went to the bone. I did clap push-ups and knuckles push-ups and decided to combine them for disastrous results. My hands are peppered with smaller, barely visible scars from basically anything you can imagine a dumb teen doing. Barbed wire been there, girlfriend's nails done that. Edit. Also have one on my thigh because OE of my friends accidentally stabbed me with my own knife. Head. Cousin whacked me with a hockey stick when we were playing a game as kids. Leg. Car accident tore 2 muscles in my knee and required surgery to repair. Right wrist. Super tiny scar that looks like an acne scar. Had a really bad pulmonary embolism, and they went in through my wrist to look at my heart to make sure the stress on my lungs wasn't doing damage to my heart. It wasn't. so we were able to treat the embolism with medication rather than surgery. Brushed by a minivan who was not paying attention and clipped my while I was riding my bike. I did a forward flip and slid on the ground, losing much skin on my right shoulder. When I was 8, cute kid, I get angry, smack human, me, claw stuck in my arm rips down my arm as I pull it away. 2-inch long gash still visible. Cute 8-week-old puppy dog licking my face takes a chomp at my upper lip. Needled tooth goes all the way through. Thanksgiving Day trip to to get it cleaned and stitched. I drooled on myself from the anesthetic throughout dinner. Dog and I never spoke of it again. His 12-year life. All-time great dog he was. Picked up a payphone receiver. Yes, children. Once upon a time, there were public payphones. Someone had booby-trapped with a razor and have a scar that looks like I tried to cut wrist, except nowhere near a vein thankfully. Upper arm, a fryer basket working at McDonald's. Foot, dent along the heel where I landed on the edge of a step when I was real young. Forearm, took a lot of surface injuries breaking up a dog fight where neither dog wanted to stop. One of them gave me a nice cut that scarred over. Foot/toe. A door opened up and went over my foot, taking some of my foot with it. Scar at the base of my pinky toe. Internal, the tragedies of life start early and never end. I had the chronic exertional kind, unlike acute, which is from crush injuries or fractures, that developed from running and eventually it lead to pain and difficulty walking. The surgery sucked. But at least it was an outpatient surgery, and for the chronic kind they are able to close the skin with sutures right away versus leaving the incision in the legs open for a period of time like they do for most acute cases. I have a big L-shaped scar under my arm from when I was a kid. I had to get stitches. I was trying to get my pajamas out of the top drawer of my wooden dresser and the side of the drawer was all chipped. It went into my armpit as I was too small to be digging in the top drawer anyways, and it dug the skin out of my underarm. I still remember the drive to the with my dad. I also have a scar in my eyebrow from playing football in the garage with my older brother. He pushed me into the couch that was in the garage. Don't ask why, and I hit my face on the arm, which had that old school gold rimming on it, and it busted my eyebrow open. Stitches again. Apparently crashed the side of my head into the end of a glass table when I was an infant. I have no memories of it, but according to my parents, it was the only time I ended up in the So basically my entire life I've had this one little slit only about a centimeter from my eye. I'm kinda scared to think what would have happened if my head was turned just a little more to the front. TVT, thankfully it blends in with my eyelid a bit, though. Born with a strawberry mola benign tumor in the middle of my back that was removed when I was 5. Fell face first onto a sharp rock on a gravel road. Chunk out of my forehead. Couple years later, glass broke while I was washing it. Sliced hand. 15 odd years ago. Same year one fell off my bike and gashed my chin, but saved my brain. Wear a helmet. A bone chip from a previous ankle injury floated around and then got tangled in the nerve bundle on the top of my foot. The pain was astounding. It made my leg flop around like a fish. There's a weird scar on the top of my foot where they took it out. Me and my friend both have a knife collection. Well, we have a habit of swinging knives around and not looking where we're swinging them, so one day I was walking up behind my friend and he didn't realize I was behind him. He swung the knife and clipped my nose, so now I have a permanent scar from the bridge of my nose all the way to my cheekbone. I've had people compare it to an anime character scar. The only plus about it is that you can't see it in pictures for some reason. I tripped on the road while walking the dog and scraped my knee really bad. As in, my mother thought I'd broken a bone at first. That was about a decade ago or so, and I still have a scar on my left knee. Second story is actually my dad's. He's got a scar ... somewhere. I forgot exactly where, but it was either his back or his left shoulder, from getting his skin nearly scraped off by the alpine slide when he worked at Action Park as a teen. literally falling off the monkey bars when I was 7. My feet were probably no more than 2 feet from the ground. I don't even know how I landed in a way that would break my arm, but bam, double compound fracture. I thought the bones were rocks that got embedded in my skin from the ground, so I tried to pull on them. 6 surgeries later, 5 of which took place in 10 days, lots of codeine and morphine, and I now have a lightning bolt-shaped scar up my entire forearm, plus 2 little intra-scars where they took the metal rods out. Replacing an old door, much heavier than expected, slipped while carrying it away, fell backwards. Hinge plate still attached to the door frame went right through my pants and put an inch-deep flesh wound in my right cheek. Then the door fell on top of me and made the whole clusterfuck twist like a bayonet. Put some Neosporin and super glue on it, found some new pets and finished replacing the door. Yes, I was up to date on tetanus shots. Also, yes, I should have went to the doctor anyway, but I did not feel like explaining that to them. Of the several hundred that I have, one of the dumbest is I have a keloid on my right shoulder from the smallpox vaccine I got in 2008. For those of you that don't know, the way that particular vaccine is used is they take a giant sewing needle, dip it in the vaccine, and stab it into your skin, work it around a bit, then repeat the process. Normally, most people get 3 stabs. Recommended number is 315. They gave us all 15. You also cannot pick the scab or you get a full-on infection. Hence I got a giant keloid. It's calmed down a bit in the past few years. I have a big scar on the outside of my right foot that is fairly new and I don't know for sure where it came from. Likely a combination of several factors. 4 summers working in river sandals, blisters occurred from time to time. When I sit in my desk chair, which I did a lot as a freelancer during that time, I tuck my right foot under my left thigh all the time, and I shit around in my seat. I rub my right foot on my left shin while I sleep, further preventing the wounds from healing properly. The scar is almost 4 inches long and an inch wide, and I didn't notice it until a little over a year ago. Number 1, moving into new home, walked right into the chandelier, knocked me on my ass. Number 2, cutting wood with a chainsaw and the wood bounced and slashed my stomach. Number 3, had my ring finger run over by an ice skate. Number 4, spinning around as a 3-year-old, got dizzy, fell over and bounced my head off of a coffee table. Number 5 and 6 surgeries. Number 7, being told by my mother that she never wanted kids. I'm an only child. I blacked out completely on clonopin for around 5 to 7 days. When you black out for extended periods like that, coming down feels like your world is going to implode. The anxiety is definitely off the charts. I didn't know what else to do but cut myself. I did it on my shin with a serrated blade and went deep, like way deep. Now I have a very deep scar on my shin that will never go away. People ask about it a lot, but it's a heavy and personal answer to a light question. I have a scar on my shoulder and 1 scar on my eyebrow, which is kind of like a permanent eyebrow slit. Once when I was 7 or so, I was riding my shitty bike down a gravel driveway. Shitty as in, sticky handlebars, deflated tires, rusty chain. I was going relatively fast when my front tire hit a rock and I went flying over the handlebars. I was posed like a scorpion as it shot me a solid 20 feet. The entire time my face was grinding across the gravel. Luckily, my cousin was riding with me and saw the entire accident happen. He jumped off of his bike to run to my help as he thought I had passed out. I stood up and couldn't see out of my left eye. I thought I had went blind in that eye from the accident. It turned out to just be all of the blood pouring over my eye and I couldn't see because there was so much just rushing down my face. We ran down to my grandma's house and I asked her if I was going to die. I seriously thought I was going to die from a biking accident at the age of 7. Still have the scars. Me and my cousin still hang out every single weekend I go over to my grandma's. Crazy story that I still remember 8 years after. Had been a year since I worked out, Was super lazy. Finally got back into it and hit the treadmills and weights as if it was a year prior and I was still in shape. I wasn't. I was so tired that on my elliptical cool down I stepped off too close to the footholdings, and as it was coming down, still from the momentum of my steps, it scraped across my shin. Blood gushing begins and doesn't stop for hours. Walked back from the gym to my apartment like I was shot and there was a blood trail.